The film is, unlike all my previous films, it is an ensemble, a real ensemble. I mean, nobody really carries the narrative. There aren't any actual starring roles. I mean, there are some very distinguished actors, some of them playing larger roles than others. But they are, I mean, the great thing is that we are in the UK blessed with fantastic actors. And I mean, really intelligent character actors. And by that I mean people that know how to play or want to play real people, like the people out there in the street. And so, you know, there's a great harvest of actors to choose from. And some of them, like you mentioned, Rory Kinnear, who is pretty well known, as is Maxine Peake and one or two others that are in the film. You know, they're happy to come and do what they did. And it's a bonus to have them there, basically. But, you know, it's about the casting was about getting the right people in the parts, not names or not stars, you know. Well, the truth of the matter is that you could make a film, hypothetically, just about what happened on August the 16th, 1819, just about the massacre itself. But I think on the whole, it would be pretty meaningless for the audience. I mean, we spend a lot of time in the film before we get to that day, looking at all the various factions, the working folk, the political activists, the government, the royal family, the magistrates, etc., so that by the time you get to it, you really do understand where everybody's coming from and what's motivating people, and you get it, basically. And that, I mean, you call it sprawling. You know, there are a whole lot of narratives, all of which are important, all of which need to be told and investigated. There's a lot of stuff to absorb and to listen to. I hope it's a rich experience. It's certainly a dense experience. And there's a lot of stuff to take in. But you have to do all that, you, the audience, so that you get it when it comes. You understand and you empathize and you are motivated to have feelings and opinions and attitudes to what's actually going on. Well, I mean, the most important thing about the sequence, which is quite long, and it took 5 weeks to shoot. And that's an event that all happened. In fact, it all happened in reality and in the film. It really happened quite quickly. It was all over and done within an hour and a half, you know, less. It took a lot of planning, obviously, but the important thing is that we planned it and shot it in such a way as to keep it liberated and fresh. We didn't reduce it to sort of over-organized slices, you know. Sometimes we shot with 3 cameras. We chose never to have aerial shots and things. You're always in there with the action. I made a very definite decision with my composer that when it came to that whole sequence, the score would stop. There's no music there to egg you on and to color it and to tell you how to emote. It just happens naturally, you know. Obviously there are lots of different events that go on within the overall chaos, and all of those I rehearsed and constructed with the actors separately. And yeah, we put it all together, basically. I mean, the important thing is that film directors don't make films by ourselves, you know. It's teamwork, and I work with a great gang of very like-minded spirits and souls, and we're all pulling in the same direction. And I mean, the other thing, of course, is that the curse of English filmmaking is the weather. You never know what it's going to do. And here we are for 5 weeks shooting an event that happened on a very nice sunny day in August 1819 in one day. So we were very, very lucky. I mean, the weather could have rained the whole time. I mean, anything, but we were very, very lucky. Somebody was on our side. Some left-wing god was on our side. I mean, the film itself is different from my other films in that, apart from anything else, all my films, I would say, are political in the sense that they're about the way we live our lives. But this film is the only film which is overtly political in that it is about politics. It's about political activity. But in many respects, I would suggest that this film is actually fundamentally, at the most basic level, no different from any of my other films, in that all of my films, including this one, are about people, about looking at people in a real way, looking at people as individuals, as well as part of society, looking at people in a rounded, three-dimensional kind of way, looking at people with all their virtues and warts and idiosyncrasies. And this film does that too. And although there's a massive amount of things going on and a lot of people, I still would hope that you're looking at people in a very close-up kind of way. So in a sense, it's kind of a sort of a regular Mike Leigh film, but on a bigger scale, basically. As to what I learnt, well, that's a whole different sort of a question. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, every film is a new learning experience, because there are always new challenges and, new problems to solve. And you name it, basically. I mean, what we had to do on this film, even more than on my previous period films, historical films, Topsy Turvy and Mr. Turner, is to assimilate, to absorb into the script actual stuff that people actually said, and particularly there's quite a lot of political speeches in the film, which I hope we've made digestible and accessible and such that you can follow them and understand what's going on and learn something from each new one. But, that involved a lot of research and a lot of digging around in the archives and so on, and making it work, editing the stuff and making it work, working with the actors so that it worked for each of their characters, characterization.